All right. So again, this is the Visual Story Network, and we're hosting the Mission ARVR Network's People of Faith and the Importance of Morality and Technology with our special guest, Ash Greyson. Thanks to all who are joining. We've had about over 30 of you that have registered from around the world, so we're excited that you're here. The Visual Story Network is this tribe of 3,000 people reaching and discipling the nations through media and story and innovation. You can meet others, create a profile at visualstory.org. The ways we kind of help reach and disciple the nations, our contribution are we train leaders like you through our events. We offer a number of courses through our Mission Media University. We build innovative networks like the Augmented Reality, Virtual Reality Network, of which this event is a part. We focus on women, mobile. We've got the Middle East Women's Leadership Network, the Mobile Ministry Forum, Mission ARVR, and some others. And then we produce media, curricula, and resources. And today we're talking about the people in faith and the importance of morality and technology, because technology has changed our lives. In particular, this augmented reality, virtual reality technology is the latest. It's going to change the way we intersect people, faith, interact with people. People will learn. And so we want believers to be innovators and early adopters, but we want them to do so both intelligently, led by God's Spirit, and in partnership and in community with others. So that's why we do these community kinds of events. So we're going to be hearing from Ash. And so he's going to be sharing for about 20 couple of minutes. We'll have a question and answer. Then we'll have this little power meet and greet where you get to tell us about your area of interest in this AR/VR space, and then just a few announcements at the end. And we will stop by the top of the hour. Ash Greyson is our special guest presenter. He's got a couple decades of multimedia experience. He's an innovator. He's worked with a variety of companies. He was involved in the film that was very successful, but I think more on the marketing side. You can clarify later, Ash. I can only imagine that was a big faith-based success here in North America. His company has worked with a lot of major clients. He's just a digital and social strategy guy. But he also gets that technologies are constantly changing. And so in order to be ready for that, you've got to lean in and be ready for the next iteration. And so he'll explain a bit more about that. He's got a background in music as well. And I think that's all. Okay, so we will be posting, and you will get a summary email from us here, probably within a few hours at the end of this session, that will point you to this. But just in case, the executive summary, where the recording will be, the notes will be, as well as the folks who participated, will be at visualstory.org/Greyson. We encourage you to check out our ARVR page at Mission ARVR and our Facebook group. I think we got like 95 people in there. We'd love to have you join if you're not already a part. If you want to know more about our Mission Media University courses, go to missionmediau.org. And again, use the hashtag MissionARVR. And that's all I got. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to, I didn't share my screen. Oh, Adam, dude, I didn't realize that. I never shared my screen. That was terrible. I was showing slides and I did not share my screen. Anyway, so it is what it is. We'll turn this over to you, Ash, and take it away. Just talk to us about this whole space.
Yeah, first off, I think it's really important to do any video conference call with a dinosaur over your left shoulder. Pretty much. So, and you can see my HTC Vive camera up there. So I'm up in my converted attic where many of my 7 children participate in VR and music and dinosaurs, all kinds of stuff.
Can you turn your, like, I don't know what kind of camera, can you do a quick spin?
Yeah, so here's there, and then over here we've got music stuff, drum set, all that goodness. So, and you know, when you got 7 kids, you got to stay on top of all the technology. So, honestly, that's the part of the driver for me is, now my oldest is 12, my youngest is 2. So a lot of people are like, why is the market?
I'm sorry, are they all biological kids?
They are. Yeah, no twins either. My wife and I wanted a big family, and you know, I'm 46. She's 38, so she's 39 in December. We wanted a big family. And I was like, well, we have to wait till we can afford to have that many kids. which that day will never come. People always say, how expensive is it to have 7 kids? I mean, how much money does it take?
Don't
My
ask.
answer is all of it. It takes all of it. It takes every penny of it. But that's a key driver to me in the morality of it. I'm a big time like futurist. Like I like to think about what's going to happen. But whenever my oldest at the time, a few years ago, I was at South by Southwest, and he got one of the little Google Cardboard things, dropped his phone, his iPod in it, and put it over his head. And I thought, wait a minute, like Dad doesn't know what he's looking at. And he's there. The proximity to me is 2 feet. And, part of me imagined all the good that could come from that. And another part of me, throughout human history, when you eliminate accountability, it usually doesn't end well, right? All the way back to the beginning, right? If you eliminate accountability, it's our sinful nature. And I can give the same talk to Facebook and Google and Apple, right? I just have to change it from, I believe it's our sinful nature. Other people may believe it's your reptilian brain.
Right.
And so where I started to dive into this space was from the marketing angle, right? Because if you look at the machine learning and the AI and all that stuff that every buzzword you can look at, and if you're a 25 plus year old male, and you go over to Fox News, and you read whatever you're reading, you scroll down at the bottom, and there's a machine that has learned what you will click on, or someone like you. Well, the problem is, if you're a male, they've learned to crop every part of the human body to look like cleavage. They've written salacious headlines, and the next thing you know, you click on it, and you're like, well, that's not what I wanted. But we've programmed that computer that was the desired behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So the computer's like, hey, look, I did the right thing. So I really went on this mission a few years ago to get in front of Facebook, Google, those are the 2 main ones, and say, hey, listen, like, let's agree on some level of morality here. Like, as much as we like to all see, we don't like it, we all see people fighting in our Facebook feeds. I started the first time I started talking about this, I'm like, everybody in the country right now seems like they're fighting over whether a man in a dress can pee in the Target women's bathroom. I'm more concerned about the morality of and the moral compass of the people programming the computers that will teach my grandkids. Like, that's way more important to me. Not that one issue is bigger than the other, but for me personally, I realized this is something that if nobody's paying attention to it, and it's not just people of faith. I mean, Elon Musk, he's very concerned because cars that drive themselves have to make moral choices, right? The driver, the passenger, there are times when it's going to have to make a choice. And how do we do that? It's very complicated. You saw Facebook stand before Congress and basically beg to be regulated because they don't want to have to make those moral choices. And what's really interesting is we have the oldest president we've ever had, well, at election. We have the oldest Congress we've ever had. And we're in a time of just absolutely rapid change. And now we're asking these people to regulate us. I don't get scared. I wouldn't say it's scary. I would just say it's a big challenge, because if you watched any of that hearing, what you saw was mostly 75-year-old, guys who have no idea what a lot of this stuff is, asking questions about the very, Mr. Zuckerberg, I got a magazine with a CD from America Online in it. How is what you do different? And I think that was an actual thing. Somebody how do you make money? So that's where I think it's a real opportunity for people of faith and morality. Because I think what people find surprising is that politically there is, we're very divided. Morally, we're not. We absolutely are not divided morally. We aren't. I go to New York, I go to LA. There's a lot. We are not divided on the general idea of morality, right? The idea that Facebook doesn't want pornography in front of anybody, much less children. Like, they're doing everything they can to decide. So the very core base of morality, we are not really that far apart at all, right? As conservative Christians, we may say, well, our morality is we would, preach for abstinence or support abstinence till marriage. Like, so that's where the divides are. So one of the things I know, you said you like lists, Clyde. So one of the things that is a guidepost for me, that is not a faith thing, most of my life is guided by the words of Jesus. But something I read about 6 years ago that I wrote down, I believe it was actually somebody from Facebook, but I read it on the internet. So it could have been Abraham Lincoln or Elon Musk, but I think it was somebody from Facebook. But it has stuck with me, and I've actually used this principle to build my business and support my family. So it's these 4 things. Start with empathy, continue with utility, improve with analysis, optimize with love. Okay.
Are you going to say that again, or are you going to elaborate?
Yeah. So
Great.
to unpack a little bit, start with empathy. Go on your Facebook feed. Okay. The world is sorely missing empathy. Mm. It's really easy to be empathetic to someone who has a sick child. It's a lot harder to be empathetic to somebody who has an opinion that is so against yours morally. But you cannot convert them unless you have empathy. You can't even talk with them, right? And the way empathy really works is this. See this mug right here. Now, you and I could agree that it's a mug, right? And I can tell you it says Way FM, right? So I'm on the board. I'm supporting it, which is the Christian radio station. But you couldn't see that. So you can either call me fake news or not trust me, or you could move over to where I am and you could see, oh, from where you are, I understand why you think that. Now, what if it said something different on this side and you were looking at it? It would be true, right? And so this is where Christianity divided into a bunch of different segments because we agreed on the vessel and the love of God and Jesus, and then everybody's looking at their little piece and not moving around, right? Talking with each other. So start with empathy, which is the hardest one to do, the easiest to understand. Continue with utility. Well, that's just like an economic term. So utility is like makes it useful, right? I mean, it's not for this talk, but I was a big anti cryptocurrency guy, right? I still am, because there's zero utility. There's no utility at all. The utility is greed and making money. You can't use it to do anything good, right? For most people in a practical way. Most people who own cryptocurrencies never use it to buy anything, never will, right? So you have to continue with utility. You have to add value, right? Improve with analysis. That's what I'm really good at. Look at it. Why did it work? Why did it not work? Great book, Creativity Inc. Pixar, like, they unlearn what worked. Not like, hey, what worked? Let's do it again. It's like, hey, let's what worked and the why, and let's not get stuck in that, right? So that's analysis. Analysis is not just optimizing something to make it better. Sometimes analysis is seeing what went wrong. I like to use practical examples on the movie Mom's Night Out. I came in late. I had just put up 2 big movies in a row with tiny little budgets, and thought I knew everything. And we bought radio commercials with the data from movie-going moms. It's called Mom's Night Out, right? So movie-going moms. Trace Adkins, a country star, was in the movie, so we had him record a commercial. And so women who go to moms who go to movies, who like Trace Adkins and a Trace Adkins commercial. Hey, did lady come out to see Mom's thing? And like, this was a home run, right? No, it wasn't. It was a big miss. Why? No empathy. And it came from my wife on my couch. I was like, I don't know why this movie didn't do better. Especially this part of the campaign should have just crushed, and it didn't. She's like, moms can't go to movies. The reason they go to movies is to take their kids to animated movies so they can have a break for 2 hours. And I was like, yeah, that's right. So the data on movie-going moms is really about moms taking their kids to movies, not moms going on a night out. And so that's a real practical example of like not looking with empathy at the why of the data. And then, so start with empathy, continue with utility, improve with analysis. And the last one, it's a little hippie and whatever, but like optimize with love. And I believe you can't really achieve greatness at anything unless you love it. You just can't. That's the ultimate optimization, right? It's like, it's how do you care more? How do you do more? It's the same reason with 7 kids, and I take them out by myself all the time, and it's like survive and advance and hope everybody makes it home alive. But you add that 8th kid that's someone else's kid, and it's like, oh my gosh, this guy, this kid's crazy. It's because like, sure, I love that kid. This is different, right? Someone else's kid, I don't know them the same way. I don't have that same deep feeling. So those 4 things are what I walked into this space. And I was like, listen, I've got to get in front of Facebook and Google. So I started to become a frequent speaker at Facebook and Google, mainly through their HR departments. So a lot of people don't know this, but Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, and Apple, Facebook's the biggest, all have Christian fellowships. They run through their HR department. Anybody who wants a connection, happy to make it. They have often invite people if you want to go tour facilities and go see Apple's crazy new campus and all that stuff. So it comes to the HR department. So I started speaking at their events. We went to Facebook and screened I Can Only Imagine. And they let us bring 400 people, right? They let us fly pastors in from around the world. And I started talking about morality, and a lot of secular humanists, atheists started coming to hear me talk, because they know some of those. And at Google, there's guys who are really, that's their day job, programming for self-driving vehicles. And what happens? What happens when vehicle A, vehicle B, external force that can't be controlled? Vehicle A is a doctor working on a cure for cancer who's almost got it, right? Vehicle B is somebody onto their part-time job for McDonald's. Oh, right. Like those are the things they're solving for. And so they want to show up and hear somebody talking about anything that's going to give them a data point or an input point on morality, on machine learning, on artificial intelligence. And then when you step over into the AR VR space, that's the beauty of Facebook, is it got me in with Oculus. So I know a lot of the top guys up there, and it's probably a good segue for me to explain like, why is this marketing guy into AR VR? And it's because if you look at the way advertising is delivered to you now, does anybody like it? Is anyone like, yay, an ad? No, nobody is. And your control over that is getting greater and greater. Right now, it's like, well, if you click here, scroll down here, hit here, submit this thing, restart, then you cannot get as many ads, or give me some money. But what's going to happen, especially now, some of you may be over in Europe, it's already happened, but there's new rules. So like retargeting and all that stuff. Now you have to specifically say, you know what, I'm good with this. Not, I don't want it. You have to opt into it, right? So Mr. Marketing guy over here is like, hey, in 4 or 5 years, most of what I do, it's not going to exist in the same way, right? I'm not going to be able to just buy an ad to jam in front of your YouTube, commercial. I'm not going to be able to force a Facebook post to get in front of you. I'm going to have to go find content that's interesting that has utility, right? That you want to engage in, right? You want, like down at, I don't know if anybody's got to do it. I haven't got to do it yet. I'll be doing it in a couple weeks. I'm super excited. The Star Wars VR experience down in Disney Springs. But that's a commercial. That's all that is. That's a commercial. And you pay for it. So you go give them $12 to go watch a 12-minute commercial for essentially the universe they're creating, right? This new universe they're creating. And that's the future of marketing, right? It's really the future of entertainment, is these custom, personalized experiences. And so I've just dug in deep over there to try to get to the programmers. I've made personal investments. And Clyde, I'm happy to connect you. A lot of these guys would love to come on here and talk. And they're way more like sexiness than me in this space. But Brad Becker. So Brad Becker was the chief design officer. So the chief is the guy in charge of building Watson for IBM. Devout Christian guy. I'm now funding his company he started up, which is building the engine, which you'll put ARVR storytelling on top of. I believe it's called the What If engine. But he's a guy who, big time faith guy, right? He was the lead developer for Flash for Adobe. Tried to convince them to do user-based video before YouTube, and it was like, there's no future there. Who wants to watch that? He was the lead developer for Silverlight for Microsoft.
Wow.
And now, and then he went to IBM. He did a startup like everybody. And now he's got his own company called Sentient Play. And it's really not about gaming. The end game here is morality, using it eventually education even. So for instance, his minimum viable product is this really great immersive book that if you don't understand the word, you can click on it and it kind of readjusts the vocabulary, but with the idea that it puts that word in a context where you understand it, right? So it actually is lifting your vocabulary throughout the book. Instead of the current machine optimization and machine learning is, oh, they don't understand this, let me bring it down here, right? Versus, hey, how do I lift it up? And so, another company called Springboard VR, Brad Scoggins, founder, devout Christian guy who came out of all things, raising money for like World Vision, put on a VR headset, and he felt the same thing I felt, like something's here that's going to change the world. And we better put some people with a moral compass at the head of it. And his company's on fire. They're the #1 now user interface for VR headsets. So if you go anywhere, mall, kiosk, or whatever, it's probably going to be their interface. And they're licensing a ton of content. Really good guy. Another company, Positron, again, a devout Christian guy. One of the partners is a movie producer. Did a movie called Old Fashioned a few years ago. And they've got a chair called the Voyager. And again, was already into VR. And I sat in the chair and it was like, shut up and take my money. Because it changed the application for VR for me to what I saw my kids do. And most of the stuff that my kids do, or like I let my kids play, they really are into Job Simulator. You guys know that game? Like, fascinating. I'm like, honey, what are you doing? Because I do not allow my children to do VR without somebody else present and a screen that you can see what they're saying.
Really?
Not allowed. Yeah. So we have to have a laptop or hooked to that big TV over there. So you have to see what they're saying. And that's it's the buddy system, right? I mean, that's how because what I've done is introduced accountability by presence and not restriction. Because if you just restriction, I was just like, okay, I've read like the Garden of Eden story a million times. So I'm like, you guys can do anything except this. Like, I know how that story ends. So instead of restricting my kids, we restrict their time. And there's certain things we don't allow them to have access to. But we introduce accountability. It's the buddy system. Somebody's got to be there with you now.
Dude, that was tweetable. Say that one more time. And I don't know if you can. It was like say it again. We introduce accountability. Say that.
Through presence. We introduce accountability through presence, right? And that's why the big thing about VR, because I had set up this accountability through presence system. VR, all of a sudden, hey, I could be looking at anything. You know, I'm on a beach looking at girls in bikinis. You don't know. You know, you're over there. So we actually make the output to a television or a laptop, also, where someone can see what's going on. You're allowed to be on your computer during your device time. You have to be out in front of people. Can't be in a dark corner somewhere else.
How about phones, bro? What do you do with kids and your phones? Like, how do you monitor that one? It's our biggest challenge.
Yeah. So the way we do, again, I don't block off the internet, right? We restrict time. Apple's made it real easy with the latest update.
Now, yeah, that's recent, yes.
Yeah, but before that, it took some. That was always a problem, right? It takes a super nerdy dad. So my kids, we I travel with some of my kids. You know, I do all kinds of great stuff. So they know when dad's schedule. They know when to go ask for stuff. But everything requires a fingerprint or a Face ID that my kids do. That is outside.
I'm sorry, this is a little off topic, but would you allow kids in their rooms, whether the door's open or closed, with their phone where you can't see what they're looking at? Because that's the thing about the phone.
No, they cannot have their phone in their room, period.
All right.
They have to be in an open.
Parents, future grandparents, I'd say there's a key principle right there.
Yeah, they can't. They just can't. And I mean, it's just, I mean, like, so here's a very practical example. Our friends over at YouVersion have fixed this loophole. But before we had, I had a couple of apps, which, okay, you can use these apps with more unlimited time. The Bible, that seems simple enough, right? You can use the Bible app, and as long as you're on the Bible app, that's fine. You're 30 minutes to an hour a day. An hour a day is the max. And I was like, 6 hours in the Bible yesterday? That seems a little weird. You know, I was like, I think I'm a pretty good dad. That seems off. So I went and talked to my kiddo. Well, guess what? Inside the Bible app, if you click the About Us, it launches a mini browser that just links to the About Us on their web page. And all of a sudden, it's like,
you're out of the system.
Right? So he was using it, the Bible app, to watch YouTube videos, right? And, you know, and it's not like they were widely inappropriate or anything, but you know, that I mean, they find a way. Like, I've got this Sony alarm clock thing that's like 5 years old, and you know, we took away their Netflix for a week, you know, after some scandal or something. And I come in, I'm like, it's awfully quiet upstairs, and like they had figured out how to put Netflix on I think it's called a Sony Dash on the alarm clock, and they're all like huddled around. Well, I'm like, come on, guys, like this is not our device. This is an alarm clock, so technically, it's within the rules that you laid out. So,
yes.
But I don't know if I don't think we're ready to question.
Well, yeah. Let's go into Q&A. Sorry, and I that was fascinating and helpful. Comments, questions. Maybe my first one, and put them in the chat. And I'd love to hear from DJ or El Michelle, who've been prior presenters in our live events. So grateful to have all of you here. How is this AR space? What do you see the future of AR versus VR? I mean, if you can comment on that briefly.
Sure.
And then El Michelle, you go next.
So VR had a big spike, and then it's gone away for the most part, gone down, because there's no killer application, right? You're just now, like, you see, I've got to have all this space and cameras, and so we're just now seeing the headsets that are like all in one. You know, they're just now coming out. And we'll get there, right? Now, how we'll get there is probably with people dropping their phones in. You know, there's a bunch of different ways, but the idea would be we're all seeing something a little different that's more like live. So my vision for it is 5 people in a room together, hopefully, or they could be separate, experiencing something together, communicating together. That's what we're starting to see in some of these experimental VR theaters.
Right.
It's like what they realized was in a silent environment, it actually messes up the movie. Right. So there's always been like, turn off your phones, do whatever. But the problem is, if the environment's completely silent, you don't hear the you don't hear the ha 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 ha, and it completely changes how you interpret it. So a couple of these guys now have added microphones and earbuds, and you can mute and unmute just like we're doing here, right? So if you got a cough, you may mute. Otherwise, you unmute, so that we, even though we're experiencing something, we're actually hearing each other laugh, giggle, communicate. And this is what happens in video games, right? There's always like, you know, the obnoxious kid from Sweden who's got a foul mouth, but you know, you can mute him now, right? And I think that's part of where we're moving. But AR is here now, right? It is all over the place. So the really fun part about it is you can do amazing things. We can do amazing things even inside the church. I haven't seen a whole lot of people doing it quite yet. They'll get there. But go over to somewhere like I think Restoration Hardware does it. But you can actually download an app, drop in what this table would look like in your house, and walk around with your phone and see that table in the space of your home, right? So there's so many more practical applications for AR. And then, you know, if for anybody with kids, you know, what they want to do is put a unicorn head on their, you know, body and laugh and giggle. The issues with that are identity, right? Like identity. We have to be careful that, you know, we're not inventing this avatar world. There's a ton of studies. There's a ton of studies out there that show that the Instagram culture is actually very negative, especially for young females. And how many likes did I get? How many, you know, because you present a filtered version of your life online. Like if you went on my Facebook page, I don't post as much as I used to. You would think I lived at Disney World and, you know, all I did is eat bacon. And, you know, I don't post that, like, you know, I'm on a diet and I had to eat a pizza with a crust made of cauliflower. You know, I'm not putting that on my Facebook page, right? I'm putting a picture of a bacon cheeseburger milkshake from a sugar factory because it's far more interesting. And the thing to watch for AR is now we create the overlay on top of us, right? The overlay on top of us. And I'm really watching that space because I have concerns, and I haven't quite figured out what are the super positive faith applications or humanity applications of it. I see a lot of the practical ones, right? There was, oh gosh, I forget the app, but there's an app that does AR over like fields for the way things used to look. So here in Franklin, Tennessee, we had tons of Civil War battles and stuff. So you can hold your phone up and it'll actually show you where the troops went up and overlay something. So there's really wonderful practical applications. I know somebody's done one for Israel. It's supposed to, I haven't been and used it, but it's supposed to be amazing. And I think that's the closest I've come in my head of a practical application for AR, because they tried to do the Jesus VR movie. Really great guys. The problem was they just did it in VR. There wasn't the reason that Avatar was so explosive was that it was a movie, not that it was done in 3D. It was done in 3D. It wasn't a movie where we just added layer. They built the movie to fly through this way, and no one had ever done that before. So in the Jesus VR movie, it's pretty cool to be like, hey, the Last Supper. I can look around, but then, okay, I looked around. Now what? So I think someone's going to come up with a pretty killer. And there's some few people floating around. I've seen a few of them floating around of watching Bible scenes with AR on top of. Right now they do it over a table, whatever. But I think eventually it'll be over a book, right? It'll be also when you're present in Israel. But I've seen some pretty amazing things with you open up a map and then you hold up your phone and then the universe rises out of it. I'll dig it up and send it to you guys if you haven't seen it.
That'd be great.
What's a guy Eden who is in LA. So.
All right, I'm going to go to El Michelle. Can you unmute yourself? And you've got a comment question.
Yes, can you hear me, Clyde?
Yes, good to see you.
Yay. Yeah, good to see you too. I just wanted to say thank you for this talk. I'm just so very encouraged. Ash, thank you for all your information. I was like waiting to get on this webinar for a lot of reasons to hear what you had to say about AR and VR. And of course, your movie, I can only imagine I cried the entire time and have since started working on a piece as a result of that. But I guess my question was, you kind of mentioned a lot of people in the Christian space who are working in AR/VR. We're especially working on two apps, one of which is a Christian-based storytelling app. What would be your best way that you would say to kind of stay connected? I know we do it through Mission AR and VR, but just learning about some of these new projects that are emerging is extremely encouraging, because sometimes in this space you can almost feel like, oh, I'm the only one, so you're trying to rush and do something, but you just need to do what you're called to do and do it well and know that there are others working. So I wonder if there's any kind of unit or space where we could kind of know a little bit more about each other in the project.
So I think one thing that if somebody wants to take the initiative to do it, I will join, and I will get some of the Christian people at Oculus to join. Like a Facebook group is a great way to share information. And one thing I forgot to say, there's definitely the feeling of a bias, at Facebook and Google, but a direct initiative from Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg, given an unlimited budget, is to build tools for the church. And there is a network of 20 to 25 pastors who we meet with every other month at different Facebook headquarters with the head product team of Facebook, saying, how can we build new tools? And part of this has to do with me banging on the doors a lot, but really it's more about, they did the analysis of how do we connect offline community and online community. And they started with sports because that's what they know. And what they found was the sports community expands and contracts based on how good the team is. Like there's a Nashville Predators game tonight, right? Well, 3 years ago, the Predators game, and then they did really well, and now it's like everybody's on fire for them. But once that season's over, that community contracts, right? Well, they paid all. Anybody on this call could tell you this, but they paid probably millions of dollars of research, and the only community that doesn't contract is the church.
Wow.
It expands at Easter, right? And it expands at Christmas, but in between it stays. Now, they may go to a different church, right? They may go to church in a coffee shop instead of the mega church, but those communities don't expand and contract the same way. And they were like, we need to build these tools. So like it's pretty incredible to be sitting in these meetings with people that like don't understand the concept of a small group or a new members class, or like this is just so foreign to them, but they're just eating it up. Like, well, I'm like, well, if somebody has a prayer request, like I need a this. I don't need a love and angry. Like I don't even know what to do. I don't want to love the fact that they're hurting. It's like, give me this in my group. And they're listening, right? So start a Facebook group.
Which we have, by the way, but we're happy to.
If it's, I can give it to me. I'll join. I'll get a couple of guys from Oculus to join. And like these, they're very open, because in Silicon Valley, Christians are the minority. Yeah. And they're very aware of how minorities are treated in general. So they're like, they kind of roll out the red carpet. So it's a really good time to dig into that community. But I'm happy to connect you with anybody, and these people are all very open, and we'll post on their projects and stuff. So.
And we're happy to keep that going and growing and wherever. And if there's other platforms, we'd love to connect with them if anybody knows about them. Anybody comments or questions? Otherwise, we're going to go into our meet and greet. DJ, I just would love to hear you. What are your responses to anything? Just comment on anything that Ash has said.
Well, no, I think entrepreneurial and pioneers, we just kind of push forward. And what I love about the talk was the thoughtfulness to think through these elements, these 4 principles you brought forth. I think that's so valuable, at least for me. I'm just tend to be like, go, Pioneer, go. And then, oh, wait, I didn't think about this morality, unintended consequences. So, no, it was very, very valuable for me personally.
And what was point number 4? I mean, not Ash, but DJ, you liked it.
So I wrote down, I love optimize with love. I mean, that's just, with all the structure and process and systems, and I love all that. I think, sometimes, the church can get more systematic and miss out on the nature of love in the scripture. So that's I really resonated with that.
Yeah, I mean, who does that great is Chick-fil-A. Right?
Yeah.
They absolutely optimize with love to the point of like, I'm just like, hey man, bro, I'm having a bad day. Just let me have a bad day.
Okay, no, I'm missing there. What am I missing with Chick-fil-A? How do they do that?
They ooze love, right? Like they just ooze it. Hi, sir. How you doing today?
Oh, you mean when you go in? Okay, I'm not a regular. Oh, okay, I got it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you mean they're almost like waitress. They come up and, hey, let me refill this for you.
Yeah, can I chew your chicken then? And I really, that's too much.
It is kind of creepy because they come, they're so friendly, and you're not used to that in a fast food setting.
Totally.
Like, what's happening?
All right. Well, here, I'm going to thank you to Ash, by the way. And you can still, we'll probably have time if you have a comment or question, put it in the chat. But I'm a network. Everybody knows that I love people, and I love for people to love people. I want everybody to know each other and like each other. So we want you to kind of get to know each other so we can do things together. So just here's what I'm looking for, name, where are you, organization, if you can share it, and then kind of what you're interested in this space is. So I'll go. Clyde Tabor, Southern California, Visual Story Network. Like I said earlier, I think this space is just, like Ash said, going to take over, and we just need to be there as believers. Adam, you're next on my screen. Give us that shout out.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adam, also in Southern California. I've been working with Clyde for Mission ARVR for about a year now, and just loving doing work in this. So it's awesome getting to meet all of you guys, all the speakers and everything. Also, all the other people who are just interested in the field. So good to meet you all.
Thank you, Adam. Now, Bob Bartz, I just muted you here. You're unmuted, Bob. Give us that quick shout out.
Yeah, I'm Bob Bartz, and I'm with Far East Broadcasting Company. I'm living in Jakarta, Indonesia, where we're doing media with primarily through radio. But the interest I have in this AR/VR type stuff is how is it going to affect the way people consume their media, and how are we going to build relationships in that environment? So really appreciated the introduction of this stuff, and thank you, Ash, for a lot of good stuff. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Bob. And El Michelle, you just tell us those questions. Just tell us about who you are. I mean, I know who you are, but tell everybody else. You have to unmute.
Okay, thank you so much, Clyde. El Michelle Media. Have directed a VR film, working on a couple of apps, and just love to onboard, especially in the faith and education communities, onboard people in VR, AR, and MR now. I'm trying to see what we can do with Magic Leap. So thank you, Clyde, and I feel like I'm a partner to Mission AR VR.
All right, thank you, Elsha. And then DJ, just not everybody knows who you are, what you do.
Sure, my name is DJ Soto, lead pastor of Virtual Reality Church. We're the first church to exist entirely in VR. Travel with my 5 kids. We have my travel trailer here. We're in Southern Cal at the moment, and our vision is to plant churches in VR.
Yes, and where are you in Southern California right now?
Still in Santa Barbara. We're about to head to LA today.
All right, Steve Bauman, dude, are you on like a treadmill or something? It looks like you're walking.
Yes, I am on a treadmill most of the day. 30 years in Africa and France, and back in Arizona now for the moment when not traveling. I'm the chairman of EMDC. I know a lot of you people in the screen here. Hi, Andrew. And DJ is coming to do a virtual reality training at EMDC. And if you want to know more about EMDC, I put my name in the chat box. So I'd be happy to tell you more about that. And I will be contacting some of you if I can.
Eurasia Media and Distribution Consultation. I'm a fanboy. So do check it out. Jay Cole, give us a quick shout out. You are muted. You are unmuted. Go ahead, Jay.
There we go. Jay Cole, I've been involved with this VR stuff when I was going to Saddleback, and just am a content creator, just trying to do stuff online. Passionate about this, done a little bit of church planning. I've just been excited to learn and listen to what all you guys are doing that are at top of the field. So,
amen. We're glad you're here. Now, Andrew, you're next on my screen. Can you unmute and give us a quick shout out?
Hi, I'm Andrew. I work in the Netherlands. I work for a Christian broadcasting company, and I'm part of the innovation department. So once in a while, I look into new technologies like VR, AR. At the moment, I mostly work on conversational UI. And other than that, my parents, they're missionaries in Burkina Faso. They make television programs. And I will probably not spend the rest of my life here in the Netherlands. So I'm always looking for opportunities to see how I can mix my passion for God and media.
Awesome. And which company are you with? I didn't catch the name.
AO, the Evangelical Broadcasting Company in the Netherlands.
All right. Great to have you. John Sideropoulos, can you unmute and give us a shout out?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting me in this. I don't know much about AR or VR and interested to learn. My background is in branding, motion graphics, content, moving into filmmaking. So also interested in film marketing. So that's kind of my background.
It's great to see your face, John. I know we spoke it, but I now have a face to a name. So it's great to see
your face before, though.
Okay, we're going to go to Bangladesh. Zakir, can you just give us a shout out?
Thank you. Yeah, this is Zakir Ahmed from Bangladesh. And currently I am working in a Christian seminary, which is registered as an NGO. I'm working as a teacher, as I have completed my MDiv in 2016 from SAIX, India, Bangalore.
Wow.
And that's why I'm working here as a teacher, but my passion is to reach 100% of Bangladesh people, because the church is only here, the Christian percentage is only 0.5%. And all the programs and activities are designed for only for that 0.5%.
Yeah. But
my question is 99.5, and my prayer is for 100%. And I obviously believe that God also wants 100%.
Amen.
And since I have come to the Lord in 1998, 99, since then I am praying and I am trying to equip myself to use the technology, especially the mobile phone. And I am really thankful to the Lord that how technology is going up. And I do believe that God can speak through the technology, through the mobile phone. As in our country, everyone, educated or uneducated, poor or rich, they are using smartphone.
Interesting. Smartphones,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Even they know how to use, even they cannot read or write, but they know how to use the smartphone.
Wow. Interesting. Thank you. And we'll go from one teacher to another. Professor Tom, can you unmute and give us a shout out?
Yeah, Tom Custer with the Christ in Media Institute at Bethany Lutheran College in Minnesota. Thanks, Clyde and Ash, and all of you for giving attention to this really important subject.
Are you guys
Not
doing
just the technology, but the morality?
Well, thank you. Yes,
we're studying the installation of a VR lab at our school. I'm hoping it'll happen this year.
Wow.
But in the chat, I'm going to post a shameless plug for our upcoming Gospel Outreach with Media online conference. It's our fourth online conference starting on October 22nd. You'll be able to join the discussion for 3 weeks. I'll post that in the chat.
And do that also, if you will, Tom, in the VSN event calendar. If you don't mind.
Happy to do that. Thanks for that opportunity.
All right, Brother Brian James with a very interesting photo icon there.
Yeah, sorry about that. Narwhal's rule. Whoops, let me turn that phone off here. Yeah, I work actually with a church planting organization called Frontiers. We're focused on church planting among Muslims. My background was in Central Asia, but obviously began noticing the incredible impact that technology was having in media, particularly mobiles, and so just wanting to keep a pulse on things, serve more as a catalyst than anything else. I'd love to be a practitioner, but serving more as a catalyst than anything else. Really wanting to just watch this space, because mobiles have really shortened the adoption rate or the adoption time for technology, I think, and it's bringing these types of technologies to people much more quickly than we've seen in the past with other forms of technology. And so I think we're going to see AR and VR begin to very rapidly have an impact all over the world. So glad to see us focusing on this.
All right. I think I've got, thank you, by the way, Brian. I think I've gotten everyone. So here, just to wrap it up, thanks to all. Again, if you do anything, hashtag Mission ARVR, we'll send this email summary to those of you who signed up. So you'll get the executive summary in an email in a couple of hours. Otherwise, visualstory.org/Greyson, GREYSON. Join the Mission AR Facebook group, ARVR. Just go to Facebook, Mission ARVR. Go in, join. And Ash, especially, if you can get your Oculus friends, we'd love that. That'd be super cool. And the one course that I'll mention in particular that I know Zakir is going to be joining in, we, through our Mission Media University, have a course coming up in just a couple of weeks called How to Reach Your Audience Through the Mobile. We're using mobile phones in missions. So that's coming up. Anyway, thanks to all. It's great to see a lot of you and repeat customers, and just love all of you. I live in this virtual world, and every so often, I go to a live event and I go from this 2D world to a 3D world where I get to hug you, and even lots of people that I've never met in person. I've known you for a while, and then when I get to hug you, it's awesome. So someday that'll happen, DJ or Ash or El Michelle. And I don't even know if I've hugged you. Yeah, most of you I haven't hugged. Anyway, but I feel like I know you. Anyway, and maybe I'll leave the final thought comment to you, Ash. Any parting shots, thoughts, reflections?
Really, it's while I get to work in Hollywood all the time, and I get to run around with all these people, but I know it's going to be you guys that are going to change the world, right? So there's, the generation of Spielberg, it was great, but somewhere there's a programmer, there's the new frontier is this stuff that's going to be the big game-changing, world-changing, life-altering thing. And I think we have to bake the guidepost of faith into every product we put out there. And for me, that starts with morality that we can agree on, and stop letting the computers optimize for the sinful nature of man. They will. This is what Elon Musk is afraid of. He doesn't say it the same way, but like these guys that are afraid of Skynet, they're afraid of it optimizing for the sinful nature of man, the thing that will make you turn your head towards a car crash, which means that's how I get human attention, and I've been taught human attention is valuable, so I'm going to crash the cars, right? So I get human attention. So they're saying the same thing. They don't understand the depth of what it means. Elon Musk thinks we're living in a simulation, right? Because that's how he can explain it. But it's going to be some person that most people have never heard of.
Right.
No one knew who Mark Zuckerberg was. Google, Amazon. Like these are not people that went up through some system. They just came up with a crazy idea that changed the world. Yeah,
there's another Palmer Luckey out there, in the next couple of years. So,
sure, absolutely.
Interesting. Well, and maybe I'll add my little comment here. I'm 2 miles from Saddleback Church, and Rick Warren's so easy to quote. One of his quotes is, everybody wants to believe and belong, and so just let's keep that. And we want to woo people towards Jesus. Just if you hold them up, he does the work of drawing people to himself. They have that need to believe in something that's a bigger narrative than themselves. And then ultimately they do need to belong. And so, we're belonging to each other in a very digital way right now, and if you will, in a 2D way. But I think ultimately at the end game, as best we can, we want to draw people into a community where they can really connect and belong, and really feel known and safe, and, where their belief can transform them. So anyway, may God give us grace and ideas. And so we're willing to kind of be one of those places where you connect and learn from others, and hopefully push the knowledge out to those others, and we push it in, and there's constant renewal of ideas and so on and so forth. So we are better, and the water level rises, and the kingdom comes, and the glory of the earth covers the sea. covers the earth as the waters cover the sea. There you go. That was my unscripted end. How's that?
Awesome.
All right, grace and peace, everybody. We'll let everybody go, and then Adam, give me 4 or 5 minutes, and then you and I can show up, and we'll do our little evaluation. And Ash, do you have PayPal?
Well, yeah. I mean, but I'm a millennial, so like I have to be like millennial. You have to Venmo me or.
Oh, I can't do a Venmo. Just give me an email for PayPal. I'll text you on that one. Okay, grace and peace, everybody. Take care. And Adam, can you join me like at 9:05? We'll jump back in.
All right. See you guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.